Humphead wrasse are a naturally rare reef fish. They are a large species growing up to 200 centimetres in length and weighing up to 190 kilograms. This species have biological traits that make them vulnerable to extinction when overfished. For example, they have a 30-year lifespan and slow maturation, which makes it difficult for population recovery. They are protogenous hermaphrodite, meaning they are all born as females, changing into males at approximately 8 years. So when fisheries target the smaller humphead wrasse, this hinders the opportunity for reproduction. Vice versa, the overfishing of the large humphead wrasse creates an imbalance in sex ratio, again making it difficult for population recovery. Humphead wrasse are at the mercy of the live reef fish food trade, sold mainly to China, Hong Kong and Singapore. The reason for the smaller humphead wrasse being targeted is the preference for plate-sized dishes explicitly for ceremonial dinners and impressing business associates. The large humphead wrasse are targeted for banquet meals. They are showcased in cramped fish tanks in restaurants, serving the age-old custom of selecting a meal and having it killed and prepared on the spot. A 40-kilo humphead wrasse has sold for over $5,000 in Hong Kong. It is unfortunate for these majestic creatures that a high price tag is the reason for near extinction. Vast population depletion or removal of humphead wrasse causes a trophic cascade and imbalance on the benthic community. They are an apex toxic predator, eating crown-of-thorns starfish, sea hares and boxfish, mollusks and invertebrates. Humphead wrasse are geographically widespread over 48 countries, with the Coral Triangle as the core population zone. Indonesia, Philippines and Malaysia are countries within this region, dominating the trading of this species. Results from an underwater visual census showed a population decline of 57% between the year 2000 to 2018, and abundance is down by 72%. And in some locations, humphead wrasse had been entirely eradicated. Destructive fishing practices were used throughout the Coral Triangle, catching tons of humphead wrasse and destroying reefs along the way. One of the most lethal of these fishing practices is cyanide poisoning, which involves people spraying the fish with a cyanide toxin. This affects the oxygen uptake through the gills, slowing them down. Cyanide causes extensive environmental damage, and so does blast fishing, which involves fishermen centering themselves amongst a school of fish. They then throw lighted bombs, stunning and killing the fish for quick capturing. This is destructive for habitats and a main cause of reef decline in Malaysia. Mariculture is a process of breeding wild juvenile humphead wrasse and growing them out in cages until they reach the desirable market size. This in turn depletes the juvenile population. Scuba spearfishing preyed on the vulnerable nocturnal behaviour of humphead wrasse, catching them whilst they are asleep. Trade data between 2005 to 2013 reported global export of live humphead wrasse with 66,930 tails. Since 2010, Indonesia has been the sole legal exporter of the species, and 2 years later the legal quota for catch decreased from 6,000 to 2,000. There is evidence that humphead wrasse is still readily available in China, and there are claims of illegal trading still happening in Malaysia from the Philippines. Marine protected areas are having positive results in some locations as local communities are following restrictions and these areas are being effectively policed. However, for some parts of the world, lack of finances to support the policing of MPAs renders any restrictions pointless. A unilateral ban on the fishing and trading of humphead wrasse would be the only environmental, economic and sustainable solution to this problem. A sustainable objective for this species would be the economical growth in tourism for coastal communities, as humphead wrasse are a majestic sea creature avid divers would pay to see. Everyone can help stop the fishing of humphead wrasse by promoting the beauty of this reef fish with local diving communities and educating others on the unsustainable and unethical capture and trading of humphead wrasse.